The biggest thing is that there is hope. There are answers. Supremedental gave me all the answers. It restored so much in me.
Also, what happens primarily with that syndrome, it's an autoimmune syndrome, right? And she doesn't produce the right amount of saliva and the right type of saliva to keep her mouth moist.
Every step of the way, I was like, okay, yeah. And we left there, and I was like, this is it. This is exactly where we need to be. And
how did you feel then?
She told me to shut up.
No.
Honestly, she did.
I believe it.
Many people tell you that?
No. For me, I think for me and all of the dentists that you have here in the clinic, it's a big deal. You know, it's not like, oh, it's just another treatment or here we go. You know, it's not. I don't know. It's like a marriage, pretty much. Like, you know, you put your confidence in me, and I have to know that I have to do my absolute best.
And so I have been living this my whole life. And this week has been beyond emotional because I'm done. I'm done with the dentist. I'm done.
It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Salt and pepper and heavy D up in the limousine.
Hello, welcome back to Supreme Dental Podcast Studio. You can be anywhere else in the world right now, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Don't forget to like and subscribe. My wife and I are the owners of Supreme Dental Clinic. Remember, this podcast was meant for you, our patients. And you can listen to us now. We're on Spotify and we're on Apple Podcasts. Now, today we have two very special people here with us. We have Julia and we have Kayla. How you guys doing today?
Good.
very good, thanks.
Now, Elias is also very special. How you doing, Elias?
I'm doing great. You remembered my name this time.
This time. There you go. We're getting better. No more traumas.
No more traumas. Hopefully.
So we're here to talk a little bit about your dental journey. Mm-hmm. And part of your dental journey was, she's your friend?
She's my friend.
Her emotional support.
Your emotional support,
Yes.
Kayla.
Yes.
And your VIP,
Eli.
So start us out. Tell us, who's Julia? Where's she coming from? I know this is the first time you've done a podcast.
First.
So just talk to us. Dr. Liza's here. Talk to us and let us know.
It is emotional.
I understand.
Emotional. It's a lot. It's 25. It's more than 25 years from when I was a little kid and had abscesses and had root canals, and then I wasn't going to a dentist anymore. So then by the time I'm 21, my whole mouth is just a decay. And I had gone to doctors in Canada and everybody said I was fine, but something was wrong, but I didn't know. And yeah, I went to dentist and they said, we don't know what to do for you, but we will fix what's broken for 4 days or 2 weeks.
So
or
patchwork.
6 months. Patchwork. Not even patchwork. It's hard to explain it because it breaks right away. And so you feel good for 30 seconds and then it's done. And so I have been living this my whole life. And this week has been beyond emotional because I'm done. I'm done with the dentist. I'm done. I found hope. I found the answers. So sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Eli, what exactly is she caused all this?
It's called the Sjögren syndrome, all right? Sjögren, yeah.
But I could be saying it wrong.
What did you say?
No,
How did you say it? Because
I
you
think-
gave it.
I think you
I
said
said it in
right.
Spanish.
Yeah, you gave it an accent, man. I like that. Sjögren.
Sjögren.
Is it because you're going to Mykonos?
Yeah.
Okay, you're getting ready.
Trying it
I like
out.
that.
Just
I
trying
like
it out. I've been hanging out with David too much.
Sjögren. Yeah, David does speak like he's from Spain. Yeah. And what does that do?
Also, what happens primarily with that syndrome, it's an autoimmune syndrome, right? And she doesn't produce the right amount of saliva and the right type of saliva to keep her mouth moist. the first thing that we look at with people's saliva is the pH of their saliva, and their saliva is it's the first barrier of cleaning the mouth by itself. So when we don't have that, the enamel, the outer layer of your tooth, and the whole tooth structure and the gums suffers, and it starts to break away, and that's autoimmune. That's not something that you did. It's just your body attacking itself on the glands.
And you were aware of this, correct? You knew all this when you were going to these dentists? What did they tell you about this?
I only found out I had Sjogren maybe 4 years ago.
So before that, they were just...
Before that, they were saying I was faking. Before that, they were saying there's nothing wrong with you. Before that, they were saying we don't know what to do with you. You can only get Sjogren if you have rheumatoid arthritis or lupus. But it's so unknown. It's
very unknown still.
It's not unknown. Yeah, and it was the dentist, although he didn't know what to do for me, he said, you need to go to the hospital and get a blood test. Something's wrong. And it was the dentist that found out that I had Sjogren. And so I had been to many, many dentists, and my bones weren't okay. There was something wrong with my bones. They would say the roots were too long. We do not have an answer. And it was Dr. Elias. And my very first day, he's like, I can help you. I know what you have. And he knew immediately what I had. I think I had Sjogren. My Sjogren was severe because it can cause tooth decay. My whole mouth had decay. I never went a night without holding my cheek or my ear because of the pain that I had. And my whole mouth, well, the top part of my mouth was crowns. I had one bridge and six crowns. But I had infections. Like, people think, oh, just get crowns, but in my mouth, it would cause infections above the crowns. So all in my roots, I had infections.
How did it feel not knowing? I mean, you're going everywhere and they're telling you there's nothing wrong, but obviously you knew there was something wrong. Mm-hmm. You knew that you were cleaning. Mm-hmm. How did it feel for all those years that you didn't really know? Were you just like, why or what? Or
I was, I'm really sorry.
No, you're okay.
Super emotional.
You're okay.
I felt dirty. I felt like there was something wrong with me. How did it feel? I felt like I was doing something wrong, and no hope, no answers, and people didn't know what to say to me. But I didn't know. I felt dirty. It caused a lot of trauma because of no hope.
Yeah. You know, in the medical field, when a doctor doesn't know and gives you, perhaps not what's right, like telling you that nothing's wrong with you, they damage so many people by saying that, because you're going to who you think is a professional and that could help you, and they tell you you have nothing wrong, or they make you feel like you felt.
But Frank, they damage, but then they're like, we don't have answers, so go and find the answers on your own. So it goes beyond just not being able to give hope. They just leave you there, and then you think there's something wrong with you. And I had been to several dentists, and we were sitting with Kayla and her sisters, and her sister had mentioned that her boss had found this place in Mexico with dental departures, and we called, and we thought it was an avatar. We did not think we were speaking to a real person. And then they had given us 2 options of places. And so it was the first time in my life somebody saying, I want you to go there and try this. It was the first time that somebody said that to me.
And did you try them out?
I had sent my X-rays to Supreme and to the other dental clinic, and the other dental clinic had asked for a conference with me and said that they wanted me to get all crowns, and that was really discouraging because it would have been the crowns lasted minimal amount of times in my mouth. It would have lasted maybe 5 years to get a whole mouth of crown. So to do all of that work for nothing. But at the same time, it was scary because Supreme was like, we can help you. And so who do you trust? What do you do? And I had spoken with Manny, who was...
Who's on vacation right now? Shout out to Manny.
And we love Manny.
Thank you, Manny. I had spoken with Manny, and every single person who I'd spoken to, it went above than just giving confidence. It's, there was hope given.
Then you came to the clinic and you talked to Dr. Elias.
Mm-hmm.
And he told you he knew what you had.
Mm-hmm.
How did you feel then?
She told me to shut up.
No.
No, honestly, she did.
I believe it.
Did many people tell you that?
No.
I came here the first day, and I remember the first day. Telling Kayla, because it was your dad who brought us here, Francisco.
Shout out to my dad. How you doing, Dad?
Francisco, we also love Francisco.
We love Francisco. And he brought us here, and in the car I said, Kayla, if it's not good, we need to leave. So while she was in the waiting room, she spoke to a whole bunch of people who came from Phoenix, who came from San Diego, who came from everywhere. And so then we went up and we met Dr. Elias, and he said I could help. And I said, I told him to be quiet.
Shut up.
And then I said, wait till you see. So sorry.
It was too good to be true.
Because I was like, wait till you see my CT scan. Like, don't give me an answer before thinking you can help, because when you get no, and all these barriers, it affects you. And so he did my CT scan, and he was ready to do right away. He's like, we could do it today. And I said, no. I needed to go and have a steak that night. And so we came back the next day, and I had the operation done.
And here we are now, 6 months later?
No. I work in a high school.
Okay.
And I could not get the time off.
Mm-hmm.
I waited a year. And it goes... it's beyond the time that's recommended. But I had called Manny, and I said, Manny...
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
It's hard to get the time off, but I'm eating super well. I'm not eating what I'm not supposed to.
You left with your immediate loads, correct? You had immediate loads?
Yep.
Yeah, which was a really big deal because denture departures had told me I would get dentures.
Yeah.
I already couldn't look at myself in the mirror. And it was Eli who said, you can't get dentures. Every time I talked, it wasn't just smiled. When I talked, I covered my mouth.
Yeah.
And he said he did not want me getting dentures. He's like, you need to go in with the implants. And so I got the implants.
And she got the immediate loads, correct? So she was able to leave out of here with dentures that grasp onto the implants immediately while she healed?
Yes.
That's a big difference. So there's a lot of clinics here. Most of the clinics here don't do that. There's in Algodones, there's some clinics that haven't, to me, and hopefully they don't come and burn us down. But it's all about evolving. So evolution. So we don't make anything up. Like, we don't say, you know what, today, Elias, why don't we just try to put some dentures on some implants and see how it works? People around the world have been doing this. You know, very important people, very important dentists, very high-end, very knowledgeable, prestigious dentists have been doing this. So there's things that are recorded on how it's working out, how It stimulates the bone. How is there less bone loss? How it helps you as a patient. It helps us keep your dimension. So it's like a win-win all around. And we go off of these dentists that he's had the opportunity to meet many of these dentists in person, and a lot of our doctors have been to these trainings one-on-one, not through a computer, not through YouTube, and that's what gives us the opportunity to be able to do things like this, to be able to offer these things. And other clinics don't want to do it because they feel like it's too risky for them. Mm-hmm. But it's not that it's too risky. Well, it's probably too risky for them because they don't go above and beyond to learn what's best. And that's how I feel that we keep on growing to a point that we get a lot of patients here that were walked around. Remember the gentleman who went like, what is the patient who goes like this?
Oh, yeah. Adan.
Adan was told by other clinics that they couldn't help him. And then you started helping him. It was you helped him out too. That was the first time he actually, I think, came out on a video and said something, because he was telling me, Frank, what do I say? What do I say? And I was like, bro, you speak English. Just say, whatever you want. And he was like, oh, what do I say? And I told him something. I was in the car. I was driving. And exactly what I said, like this guy memorized it and he said it and he's like, supreme magic.
Word for word.
And I was like, how did he remember it? But he did. I mean, it was amazing. And the gentleman, we'll put a picture here before and after of the gentleman. It was like before and after is insane. And I remember you showing me a message that someone sent you on Instagram, another doctor here that told you, hey, that gentleman came to our clinic.
Oh, yeah.
And we couldn't help him. I'm so happy he finished with you guys because you guys will be able to help him out.
You have a good memory.
Yeah.
But to piggyback on what you just said, in February, you guys got a new machine that you were like, oh, it's perfect if you don't come at Christmas and you come March break for my school, which worked out because we're getting a new machine and new technology, which we're learning about. So
Was it the PIC dental?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had the gentleman who actually invented it come down and train us on it from Spain. So that was pretty awesome. So in things like that, it's what sets us apart. Mm-hmm. Doctors like this that don't take no for an answer. Like if he sees something that he can't do or he doesn't know, like he's always carrying his books with him. It's kind of weird. Like I would tell him, hey, move your coloring book somewhere else. But he always has, it's like him, Dr. Luis, Dr. Alonso, but him and Dr. Luis are always, it's like a.
No, they enjoy it.
Yeah.
They showed me the video of my operation.
They're like, I call it dental porn because they're always looking at like, oh, look at this, man. Oh, that's crazy. Look at, and I'm just like, what are you guys looking at? And they're always like, when we're having lunch together, like they always have like these little, not arguments, but little like, oh, did you know this or that? Like they're always, there's dentists that become dentists and they're dentists to me that are born dentists. And here, obviously, Elias was born a dentist to me, I tell them, because they really like what they do. They don't just finish their job at 5 and say, oh, screw it, I'm going home and that's it. Like they keep on learning, they keep on studying. He was on vacation. He's about to go to a course for supremedental implants in Brazil with Dr.
Juan Gonzalez.
Juan Gonzalez, and he's already found what company you want to use for supremedental implants and all that good stuff. And that's when he was on vacation. So it's in Dr. Luis, every time he goes on vacation, Dr. Luis like evolves. He's like a Pokemon, and he evolves to like the next level. So he comes in and he's like, wow, when did you start doing this? And it's just like, everybody pushes each other, mm-hmm. but everybody learns from each other. It's like they're competitive, but they're as a team. Mm-hmm. And I believe, I'm a fair believer that iron sharpens iron. So that's what they do. That's
while
what they
were working on me, he had everybody come around and look at, because apparently I didn't have a lot of swelling. And you were like, look at how this worked. This is.
Oh yeah, they brag all the time. Yeah, that's crazy. It's like, yeah, they brag all the time.
Yeah, her tissues were like on point. Like for a year of having the immediate lobes, like it was very, very clean. Everything was flat.
That's like dental talk. Her tissues were amazing. They were on point. And you're like, well, that's great.
Sounds good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit now, Kayla, you were part of this journey.
Yes.
You were here also.
Yes.
Tell me how it was. Tell me your interaction when you were in the waiting room. how you have seen her change from when she came in the first time to now. Talk to me.
So, so to start way at the beginning, when she was looking into Mexico as an option, obviously my first thought was, "You sure we're going to Mexico?" And then the more research we did, and then the more information we got from other people who have been here to do dental work or whatever, you know, people come here for that, which I've discovered. And so we found the place. You guys said yes. We said, okay, let's do it and hope for the best. And so one thing that I really appreciated of you guys was that, because at first luckily I was able to come and join her, because it's obviously a very big procedure. It's, you know, so I was happy that I could be here with her, but you guys were ready to come pick her up anywhere. Francisco was ready to drive to Phoenix to pick her up and bring her back. And even from the hotel, we ended up getting a hotel in Yuma. You guys were like, we'll pick you up, we'll drop you off, we'll take care of all of that. And that, for me, number one was like, oh, you're well taken care of. You know, so day one, Francisco picked us up, and she said it nicely before, but she was like, listen, what you mentioned was, oh, you know, if it's not good, you let me know and we'll just leave. No, in the car, she was like, listen, if this isn't it and you're not feeling it, we're getting the heck out of here. Like, I was like, okay, I'll let you know. And so the second I walked in, I was like, oh, wow, it's beautiful in here. It's bright. It was clean. Manny was at reception. You know, he welcomed us. It was nice. And that's when I got to chat with a few of the people in the waiting room. And one girl, she had actually come back a few times to this place, and she was like, and she brought a friend, and she was like, I always come back here. They do an amazing job. It's, you know, it's cheaper, and, you know, it's always great work. And so we chatted for a while, and I was like, and her name was Kim. So I said, Kim, I was looking for a sign that we were exactly where we needed to be, and she just convinced me, like, we're in a really good place here. And then, I don't know, within 20 minutes, Dr. Elias walked us in. He started talking to her directly about her autoimmune disorder, which he was familiar with, which was another thing that not everyone is always aware of. And he just right away just knew this is what we're going to do. And every step of the way, I was like, okay, yeah. And we left there, and I was like, this is it. Ooh, this is exactly where we need to be. And then, like he said, we could start today, and we started the next day. And I couldn't even believe, like, how well the procedure went, how well her recovery went. Like, I was waiting for her to really swell up and to be really in pain and barely any swelling. Within a few days, she was, you know, getting the
Immediate loads.
those.
But he also, because he asked about my health, and I only have one kidney. So the medication that's prescribed, he's like, no, we're prescribing you prescribed 3 different medication for me. So that helped as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I just found, like, the whole, like, so we were here for, like, the 5 days, and I just found every step of the way, as she mentioned before, like, everything was not rushed. Everything was, like, very meticulous. Everything was like, okay, come back for the follow-up. We'll make some time. We'll throw you in there. And then coming back now this time, it was kind of the same thing, where it was very meticulously done. It was like, okay, come in this day. Oh, we don't like how that fits. We'll try it again. Come back tomorrow. We'll do it, because ideally this is the last time that we'll come back for a long time. And
That's
so
it.
you want to, you know, leave here knowing that everything is good. And even when we were here on Saturday, Julia was Dr. Elias's last patient, and we even thought, oh, you can leave after this, and you do long days, and I could imagine that it's nice to be off early and to go home, but there was no rush. There was no like, okay, like I'm ready to go home now. It was like, no, let me take my time, figured it all out, did the changes, did the adjustments, and I just felt as like a third-party outsider that from the beginning, she was like 150% taken care of, which for this situation, you wouldn't want anything less. And I think here we found it beyond what we could have expected.
That is something that I let our patients know. A lot of the times, patients that are in the waiting room, a lot of the times if your appointment is at 10, we might see you at 10:20, 10:30, maybe 10:45. But when we do see you, we're gonna give you the time that you deserve. We're not gonna tell you, well, in 30 minutes your time's up, Julia. I'll see how it goes. You know, it's we're gonna take the time, and our patients that want their teeth done right understand. Hey, you know what? But when I'm in there, my teeth is gonna be just great also. But you know, it's some patients don't. You know, some patients are like, hey, you know, my appointment was at 10. And, you know, so we try to tell them, hey, but when we get to you, we're going to make sure that everything is done right. Like, we're not just going to get it and then you leave and then come back for something else. No, we're going to take care of it, whatever it is. And we take everything very personal. We try to make sure that everything is done correctly from the first time. And even by doing so, sometimes things go wrong. In the medical fields, you know, sometimes things go wrong. But we focus on what we can control, and we focus on how we can fix it. So now tell me, what does this bring? What is this new Julia 2.0 gonna do now? Like, how does it feel? Now you have your smile.
I can dream again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd completely stopped dreaming of hoping for anything, and yeah, I said it before. It's bigger than a smile. It's healing. It's okay. It's knowing there's more. So I'm just excited about what's next now, and this is done. Like, yeah.
How does that make you feel? Because a lot of people out there, they think like, oh, it's just another smile for Eli or Dr. whoever.
Well, it's not, because you get, it's not like, oh, just a treatment. Oh, we're gonna do an all-on-6. It's an actual person that you're actually, you know, you talk to them, you get to know where they're from, what they've been through, and that they're pretty much placing their lives in your hands, right? And I have to take care of you. You know, it's for me. I think for me and all the dentists that you have here in the clinic, it's a big deal. You know, it's not like, oh, it's just another treatment or here we go. You know, it's not. I don't know. It's like a marriage, pretty much. Like, you know, you put your confidence in me, and I have to know that I have to do my absolute best. And as you mentioned, it's not like, oh, we're gonna try to rush it. No, it's like we take our time. I want to make sure, like, if it was you were my sister, my mom, that's how we take care of our patients here. That we want to make sure that it's just great, and it feels good to help people out. Like, sometimes we don't even realize the impact, as you mentioned, that we have in people's lives. Like, we kind of get the idea, but we don't really like fully understand until you actually talk to the patients and you see the emotions that they go through. And you go, wow, it's not just more than... I would have never thought that I would be doing this right now. When I first started dental school, I didn't know that it would go on and beyond just teeth. It would, like, to change people's lives. Like, life-changing dentistry, it's a real thing, and it feels good. My parents are very proud.
They should be.
Yeah, so, and it's fun. I enjoy it. As Frank said, you know, we're always competing against each other, but in a good way, so... I couldn't be in a better place doing this. This is what I was meant to do, and I feel very, very confident with that.
We said it before, you know, when we look at a case, we're like, if this was your mom, what would you do? Like, we have said that before when we look at a case. Like, if this was your grandma, like, I tell everybody, like, treat everybody like if it was your mom, like if it was your grandma, like if it was your dad, if it was your grandpa, because everybody's a different world. Sometimes patients come in and they can be a little bit rude. But you don't know if they lost someone. You know, you don't know if they've been told no so many different times. And it's just a shield, you know? So everybody that comes in is a different world. And that's how I tell everybody to be treated, you know, everybody with respect and give the best we can.
You guys also make people feel safe, heard, and seen.
Thank you. Thank you. So how did you see your friend now being different?
I would have never done a podcast before.
She would have never done a podcast before.
Well,
And
actually,
I told her, like, our first day in, we
Yep.
were just waiting in the waiting room, and the video was on in one of the podcasts. I was like, for sure they're going to ask you. And she was like, no, I'm not doing that. I was like, but they'll probably ask you because your situation is very different than probably most situations. I was like, they'll probably ask you, and yeah, you'll probably have to do it. She was like, no. And then I think in her appointment, I think you came up to her and
I was like, hey, how you doing?
yeah,
No.
we're just gonna film and
No. He came up the second day. Eli had talked to me about it the first day. I never said yes. And he's like, yeah, we're going to do this. And I was like, I didn't say yes.
And then and then she said, okay. And I was like,
and then so there was that. So and I think going through like even it's more than just like her nice smile. It's like yes, but I living through the emotions like with her, and this has been like a long time coming. Like this is like prior to last year when it was like, oh, I have another dentist appointment. I have another dentist appointment. I have another, I have to get cavities. I have to do this. My tooth broke. Like, so there was a lot of that and just like discouragement. And then it's like, okay, we're going on this journey. We're going to Mexico and we're doing this. And it's like, okay. And then the procedure is very intense. And so living that last year was a whole journey in and of itself. And then the healing from that and the relief, even this last year of like, it happened and it was good and we're almost there. And it's like, now it's like, we're at the finish line. And all week she was like, oh my God, I'm so emotional. And, but just cause it's like, this is it. It's like all of these years of not really knowing to like, we're at the finish line. So it definitely goes deeper than just the smile. And it's a lot of everything like that. All of that stuff that, she's worked through even this week and going to the appointments and like, and now it's done and it looks great, a whole new mouth. And so I think that, even moving forward, I feel like that's where, again, that healing is going to come from. Is like, it happened and it was beyond what we could have expected, much better than we could have, like, I think could have imagined. And you're kind of just, you get to kind of start new.
It's a fresh start.
Fresh, yeah.
I'm remembering, like, we've been friends our whole life, your whole life. And then we lost contact and we reconnected about 4 years ago. And when we reconnected that night, I was going up the stairs and I had temporaries and it came out just like that. I was always scared. And so you've actually been with me since that day. That's crazy.
That's crazy that it was a year ago, because I remember I was talking about this case when it came in.
Yeah.
And we were, and I thought it was actually, I just told her it was 6 months. Well, 6 months passed. She's like, no, it was a year. So a year went by. That's insane.
Goes by fast.
That's insane.
I even showed her the videos of the pterygoids. She has pterygoids, and showed her the videos like when she was asleep, and we were just.
Oh, he was excited about that video.
Yeah.
He was.
Like, look at the move. You did so well. Your head moved.
We were testing out the torque.
It's gross.
It was cheap of the torque.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Dental porn.
It's pretty
porn.
intense. It's pretty intense. I live it every day.
Yeah.
But she wanted the video though.
Okay.
I did.
Okay.
She's like, "Can I have that?" I was like, "Yeah, it's you."
Yeah. It's like, it's your mouth.
Yeah.
So before we leave, if you want to look at that camera right there, and if there's a lot of patients out there which are going through what you went through, perhaps not exactly with what you have, or maybe with what you have, and what do you tell them?
The biggest thing is that there is hope. There are answers. Supremedental gave me all the answers. It restored so much in me. And there's nothing to lose to try it out. And you will get above and beyond what you are hoping and expecting. My gratitude to all of you is, I can say it to the people, but my gratitude to you needs to be face to face. And
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. No, well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting your trust on us, and thank you so much for doing trusting yourself with the dental journey coming all the way to Mexico. I always tell Dr. Elias, you know, he's very talented. He is not our best looking dentist, but he makes it up with talent. So we got some stuff to work out, but it's okay. You know, it takes time. And we'll just thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for following her in her dental journey. And that's it. Well, now you get to keep on smiling, and I'm very happy for what's coming. And just like the cup says, it was all a dream.
Yeah.
So now it became a reality. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
being here. And this has been Supreme Dental Podcast, powered by Supreme Dental. And just like Julia, keep on smiling.
And if you don't know, now you know, you know, you know.
That's right. East Coast.
And if you don't know, now you know, you know.